The 1960 Plymouth XNR Roadster is one of the most iconic and innovative concept cars ever produced, reflecting the audacious spirit of its time. Designed by the legendary automobile designer Virgil Exner and crafted by the Italian coach builder Carrozzeria Ghia, the XNR was a bold experiment that combined American exuberance with European sophistication. The XNR was conceived during an era of experimentation and boundary pushing in automotive design. Virgil Exner, Chrysler's chief designer, envisioned the XNR as a radical departure from the conventional designs of the late 1950s and early 1960s. The car's name, XNR, is a play on Exner's last name, highlighting his personal connection to the project. The XNR's design is a striking asymmetrical masterpiece. Unlike cars which are typically designed with symmetry in mind, the XNR features a pronounced driver's side fin and a unique offset cockpit. This gave the car a futuristic and aggressive look, setting it apart from anything on the road or track. The prominent fin was not merely an aesthetic choice, but also a nod to the jet age design language that was popular at the time. I was actually surprised to find this car when I started watching the Fallout series on Prime the same day that I tested it, and saw the XNR appearing in a cameo in the opening scenes. Underneath its striking exterior, the XNR was built on a modified Plymouth Valiant chassis, demonstrating that it was more than just a pretty face. The car was powered by a high-performance 170 cubic inch slant 6 engine capable of producing 250 horsepower. This engine was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, ensuring that the XNR had the performance to match its looks. The XNR's lightweight body was crafted by Ghia in Turin, Italy, using aluminum panels to keep the car agile and responsive. The collaboration between Exner and Ghia resulted in a seamless blend of American engineering and Italian craftsmanship, a testament to the global nature of automotive innovation. The Plymouth XNR made its public debut at various auto shows in the early 1960s, including the 1960 New York Auto Show. It was met with awe and admiration, with many praising its daring design and advanced engineering. However, despite the positive reception, the XNR remained a one-off concept car and never entered production. The reasons for this were that the car's radical design was deemed too avant-garde for mass production, and the financial practicality of producing such a unique vehicle was questionable at best. Additionally, Chrysler's focus was shifting towards more commercially viable vehicles, leaving little room for the niche appeal of the XNR. After its initial showcase, the XNR disappeared from the public eye and went through several private owners. It resurfaced decades later, restored to its former glory, and became a highly sought-after collector's item. The car's rarity and historical significance have made it a centerpiece at numerous classic car shows and auctions. In recent years, the Plymouth XNR has been celebrated as a symbol of automotive artistry and innovation. It stands as a reminder of the time when designers and engineers dared to dream big and push the limits of what was possible in car design. The first time I became aware of the car was on Netflix series Car Masters Rust to Riches, where Gotham Garage builds a replica of one from the original plans, which ended up being donated to the Peterson Automotive Museum. The 1960 Plymouth XNR Ghia remains a remarkable chapter in the history of concept cars. It encapsulates the spirit of the 1960s, an era defined by bold experimentation and a desire to break free from the conventional. Though it never saw mass production, the XNR's influence endures, inspiring car enthusiasts and designers alike with its unique blend of American boldness and Italian elegance. The XNR is more than just a car. It's a masterpiece of automotive art. a testament to the visionary talent of Virgil Exner and the craftsmanship of Carrozzeria Ghia. Now let's go ahead and bring this thing to Tokyo and see how it handles our lap. If you've made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any future content. Although the XNR demands your attention, I personally don't like the styling of it, but when you get behind the wheel, the cockpit actually gives you almost a feeling of being in an old biplane, which kind of makes it a fun build if you wanted to have like a fantasy vehicle. Initially, it had a tendency to push through the corners for me, but softening the front suspension in relation to the rear gave the front end a lot more bite for the bends and corrected the problem, making it much more responsive. The car sits pretty high and feels tall next to the competition, so you may be tempted to lower it, but if you do, you'll end up binding the suspension, especially under braking. Although the car is fairly predictable if set up correctly, twisty tracks will overheat the rear tires and wear them quickly. Be mindful of this because as the car overheats those tires, the vehicle will slip and spin out on you once they do get too hot. With our test laps, we saw 25% wear to the front tires and 50% to the rear, so that's pretty aggressive and could be a problem with this car. We were able to get about 6 laps out of the tank, so it may just be a matter of switching to a harder compound if you do want to run this in endurance races. Fully built, the XNR ends up with 494 horsepower and 305 foot-pounds of torque. So that's a pretty good amount of power for a car that weighs just under 2,600 pounds and doesn't have the aerodynamics to support more power. So I don't really expect this car to have an engine swap in the future, and I really don't think it needs it. We ended up crossing the line at 2 minutes, 5 seconds, 0.993, which put it just behind the Tesla Model 3 and in front of the GR Yaris. But keep in mind with that Yaris, it is way better on the tires, so you're going to be in the pits with this one quite a bit. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.